Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Ilma, and I have this ministry of posting my devotional every day for 9 years. So today I'd like to share Colossians 3 verses 18 to 21. Here's God's Word. Wives, be subject to your husbands as is fitting in the Lord. Husbands, love your wives and do not become bitter against them. Children, obey your parents in everything, for this is pleasing to the Lord. Fathers, do not antagonize your children so that they will not become discouraged. Colossians 3, 18 to 21. And here's my devotional. Instruction for the family. This letter of Paul to the Colossians gives clear-cut guidelines for the family of believers. In verse 18, Paul addresses the wives to submit to their husbands as they would submit to the Lord. Why is it so important that the wives surrender to their husbands? As Paul wrote to believers in Ephesus, which was written in 49 AD, ahead of this letter to the Colossians, he mentions that the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church. That's in Ephesians 5:23. Division and disunity in the marriage may occur as a result of the wrong order in the relationship as God intended it to be. Since the man is the head and not the wife, after the fall of Adam and Eve, one of the consequences of the sin on Eve's part is that she will want to take control of her husband, stated in Genesis 3. Paul reiterates the importance of the wife's submission to the husband to ensure peace and harmony in the marriage. In verse 19, the husbands are commanded to love their wives and ensure that they do not become bitter against them. The same guidelines were given to the Ephesians. Paul explains in depth why. Ephesians 5:25 to 33 says that husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself, for we are members of his body. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. In that context, husbands will avoid letting bitterness creep into their marriage. Once again, Paul instructs the children of Colossian believers, as he did the Ephesians, to follow what their parents say in everything. This is important so they can learn surrender and submission to authority. Honoring your parents is the first commandment with a promise, as he explains to the Ephesians. It leads to a life that is long and enjoyable. Then the fathers specifically got a very important instruction in verse 21. They must not provoke their children so that they will not be discouraged. Ephesians 6:4 says that children can be provoked to anger by the way they are treated. Fathers are instructed to bring them up with the discipline and instruction that comes from the Lord. Reflection. Why do members of the family need to follow God's guidelines? Well, because God created everyone. And when he created us, he had an image that he wants for us to have, which is like him. That's why in Genesis 1:27, man and woman were created in his image. So the image of God is love. He is love, and he made us all so that we can love him, so that we can worship him. Now, the instruction for the family is very important for us to follow the guideline, because family is where God's core of a ministry is. So you can't have a ministry and treat it like work, because your first ministry is your family. So when This is why Paul gave instructions clearly to the man, the which is the husband, the wife. Husband is the father if they have children, and the wife is the mother. So it's interesting how there's more instruction for the father. You won't see mostly instruction for the mother. The instruction for the wife is to submit to the husband, because the husband is the head of the family, the head of the couple, the head of the family as well. So the sole responsibility of leadership in the family is given to the husband. So he is, in fact, that's why he's cautioned not to provoke to anger his children, because it's the father who is supposed to lead everyone to the Lord, into the discipline that the Lord laws are asking to follow. So when we do not follow God's guideline, our life goes array. Like it's crazy, like, because the order is wrong. So it's important that we follow the instruction, especially if you're a believer. But even if you're not a believer, if you just try to follow this, I'm sure that your family will last together longer, or forever, if not forever. So I encourage you to take a look at the instruction, wives especially, to submit to your husbands. Very, very, very negative connotation of the word submit, but it doesn't mean to be to just tolerate everything. If he's asking you to do something wrong, if it's not following God's law, then you shouldn't, because God should supposed to be your higher authority. But then your husband is responsible for you. So if something goes wrong with your marriage and your family, he's answerable to God. And if something's wrong with your children, he's still answerable to God, because that's the order that God commanded. So I encourage you to reflect on these instructions, because you're one of this family member. So when you don't, it will be a very hard thing to do, to be united and to be harmonious and to love one another, if you don't follow the instruction in the family. So thanks for watching. I hope you check my website at Ilma'S.com for artworks, photographs, and a copy of this vlog. And I hope you subscribe to my channel on YouTube, so I could make more videos for the Lord and propagate the Word, which is the only way we can live a peaceful life. Thanks for watching.